8-figure entrepreneur. I first started off in 2020. We found an air styler, an air wrap dupe. One thing that we did leverage to get everything starting was influencer marketing. One day after, we got like 36k euros in revenue just off a free promotion video on TikTok.
You had supplier issues, lawsuits from competitors as big as Dyson.
If your supplier supplies a bad product, your customers are not going to be happy. They eventually scammed us, and that happens a lot in the ecom space. We made the payment 317k USD.
Dropshipping is seen as a scam because most sellers are misleading customers by selling cheap products. This leads to chargebacks, refunds, and ultimately account bans from places like PayPal and Facebook. Brandon prevents all of that by selling quality products that customers actually want, and he even shared his blueprint on how to find them.
You have to make sure that your product works. You also have third-party inspection companies. You'll get a full report sent back, 30 pages or so.
Diamonds are made under pressure.
I want to be able to give people hope. Travel the world, make fucking money, and make sure that you're there for your family. You can make it out.
Welcome back to another episode of the Theo Clark podcast, where I interview e-commerce entrepreneurs. Today's podcast is sponsored by Commercive Fulfillment, your trusted e-commerce partner. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Brandon, also known as Mr. Brand Owner. Brandon, how's it going?
I'm good, and you, bro?
Very well, thank you, bro, very well. Thank you for joining me on the podcast today. It's been a pleasure speaking to you next door, learning a bit more about the journey that you've been on, which is quite, I was going to say exciting, maybe not from your side when you were going through it, but it sounds like there's been some quite intense up and downs. You've been in ecom for 5, almost 6 years, getting into dropshipping the same time I did back in 2019, 2020, the good old days. And you've had, for what I would say, considerable success. You know, a lot of people try ecom or try dropshipping and they never really even manage to get those first few sales. But you actually took a brand quite far to do about 8 million. Did you say 8 million in total, or was it 8 million over a year?
8 million in total. That's in 2 years. 8 million euros in revenue, yeah.
Yeah, and you then went on to exit that brand, but it didn't come without its challenges. Sure. You had supplier issues, lawsuits from competitors as big as Dyson and stuff like that. You mentioned you're releasing a YouTube video on that tomorrow. So maybe we can touch on that, but reserve some of it for the YouTube video. And then even recently, in the past, would you say, is it 6 months or so, you've launched a new brand?
Yeah. 5.
5 months.
5 months, yeah.
You've launched a supplement brand, and just next door you were showing me that you've done over €1 million just in the past 30 days.
Correct.
So, you know, like I say, hats off to you. There's some considerable success there. And yeah, it'd be great to hear a little bit more about, I guess, how you got started in ecom and what that initial journey was like for you.
Yeah, so I'll first introduce myself. So my name is Brandon, 25 years old. I'm from the Netherlands. I'm an 8-figure entrepreneur. Been doing ecom since 2020. Up until now, still doing it right now. So yeah, Theo, first of all, thank you very much for having me on the podcast. So yeah, let's just dive deep into it. So yeah, I first started off in 2020. So if we want to go back a little bit, I found a YouTube ad selling the dream of selling products online, and then you can have your feet in the sand and like in Bali, have a cocktail next to you, and yeah, just make money online, you know, of just working off like 4 hours a day. So that really caught my attention when I saw that, and back then the pricing for the course was just €1,000, which was a lot of money back then for me, right? So I wanted to invest into that. So I had a friend who I just reached out to, like, yo, look at this opportunity. Let's jump onto this together, you know? We didn't jump on it immediately. We got like student money, right, from the government. So we had to save up like 2 months. And then eventually we bought the course in like September 2019. So once we did that, I did not touch the course afterwards, after buying it. So I had it a whole year up until I eventually just dived into it and then bought my first ever product, which was the blackhead remover. So the course was about selling products online through a platform like Amazon FBA. In the Netherlands, it's called bol.com. So you would first buy your product from China, find a supplier on Alibaba. Once you have your product, ship it over to the Netherlands, find a fulfillment center there, or if you have a bol.com FBA account, you can send it over to bol.com and they can do the fulfillment for you. So I had that, so we eventually bought the goods, sent it over to the Netherlands, and we sold out in 2 days. We sold the blackhead removers, but I didn't make any profit. So I think my total investment money was €800 for the product and shipping, and I only got 400 back. So I thought it was a scam, this doesn't work, and I left it after 2020. But then I jumped back right into it in 2021, and ever since then, just went up. Had some ups and downs in between, but it's been going well.
Yeah, amazing. I think it's funny because a lot of people that I speak to all seem to start in ecom around about that time. It's just a good time to get involved in ecom. I think I don't know what it was that drew so many people to it at that point, but I remember similar situation to you. You know, seeing being told like what dropshipping was, seeing ads for it, getting involved in the earlier days, and getting started around the same time as you. But yeah, good times. It's crazy how quick those 5 years have gone, and in between that, obviously, you've had a lot of like I say, ups and downs, I suppose. After the blackhead remover, was the second brand or the second time that you got involved in it the hair attachment?
No. So in 2021, I jumped back into it, but I was first selling, it was COVID, right? So I started selling just random products. So you would have tools like in Helium 10, but then for Bol.com, where you can just literally see what revenue is being done per product in the last 30 days, right? And based on that, you'd look for products that are having high revenue in the last 30 days, and then you would eventually buy them and sell them as well. So it was white-listed products, white label products, where you just buy the product without a brand and you can just list them onto the platform. But the problem with this is people can easily buy the product and also come on the same listing. And then what you're going to then have is a price war. Who has the lowest price is going to be shown to the customer. Yeah. So you're not going to make any profit off of that afterwards. But I sold a lot of products. So the first was the blackhead remover. Then I had a corner LED lamp, which you can just put into the corner, and then you can use the remote to choose the color blue, red, or whatsoever. I also sold the fitness cable system because COVID came, so gyms were closed, right? So that was like my number one first best-selling product. Also done massage guns, massage pillows. I tried to jump into the niche of pain resolvement. You know, try to help people with their pains. Made some money off of it only actually during Q4 because that's when the buying intent is way higher, right? But yeah, I couldn't like stop with my work back then because I wasn't really making that much profit throughout the year.
Yeah.
So that is how I eventually started, and then my business partner and I, so Raymo, who I'm always with, he and I partnered up in 2022 when we met each other after an e-commerce event. We kept talking on call, kept keeping each other accountable for what we're doing because he had his own store, I had my own store on Bol.com. And October came around the corner, and then we saw that there was a trend going to happen because we saw the Halloween movie was about to come out. And 31st of October is Halloween, right? So we were like, let's buy the masks and sell them ASAP on the platform because the movie is going to do the marketing for us. So that's what we did. We bought like 250 pieces. We were sold out in like 5 days. And then we were like, this is the quickest money we've ever made, like based on our two brands combined together. So let's buy another batch. We did that, sold that again. But then the hype died out because, if you're chasing hypes, you're going to then eventually not have a brand afterwards, So then afterwards, we were like, you know what? You're going to drop what you're doing. I'm going to drop what I'm doing. We found then the products, which was, our brand was called Travix. So we found an air styler, an air wrap dupe, which we saw doing like, 50,000 euros revenue in the last 30 days, which was a lot of money for us. So we saw that product, eventually dropped everything what we were doing, and then we just jumped on to eventually partnering up and then buying that product and started selling it.
Yeah. Amazing. You touched on a couple things there. First was when you're talking about white labeling products, where did you say you would then list them? Was it on a website called
Bol.com, yeah.
Bol.com, which you described as being somewhat similar to Amazon, right?
Correct.
But the issue with that, as opposed to, I guess, building your own unique store, is that it then becomes a price war because you see other listings for the same product. Would you say a similar thing happens on Amazon FBA as well?
100% for the brands that are not registered. So if you were to have like your own product packaging, your own logo on it, you can claim your brand name, right? You can do that through Europe is UPO, USA is USPTO. If you were to do it on there, then you can get the rights to that name, and you're the only person that can then use it. So if you were to have a brand that is registered and then you list it on Bol.com or Amazon, and someone comes onto your listing, Amazon will then kick them off for you because you are the only one that has the rights to do it,
Yeah.
So that's how it works.
That's what I was hoping you'd say, and that's why I asked that, because I wanted to kind of speak on the importance of branding as well, because not only does it allow you to actually build something that can potentially stand the test of time and differentiate yourself in the market, it adds perceived value, but in addition to that, it's almost a form or a layer of protection as well, whether you're selling on Amazon or whether you're selling on Shopify.
Yeah.
And it seems like you also acknowledged that transition because you went from chasing what you would say is a hype, you know, being or using your initiative of selling Halloween masks ahead of the film coming out, the same way I saw everyone jump on the Trump trend when his ear got shot off, you know. And I thought it's the same thing. It lasts a couple of weeks and then it dies down. But then you noticed that you'd found a product that was doing, okay, 50K over the last 30 days, and you then went on to brand that product. So I think that's what changed for you. It's actually moving into the branding side, and obviously selling something that has a bit more intent behind it and higher valued as well, as opposed to like a blackhead remover or something like that. So I don't think branding's the only reason that you saw success, but would you agree that maybe it's one of the key things is positioning yourself as a brand?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. That's the thing what I liked about the course. I've seen some dropshipping courses from like 2018, 2019. That's literally just find a product, get the AliExpress images, and then put it on Facebook, and then you start making sales, right?
Yeah.
The Bowl.com course is about, you know, you want to be the guy that's going to be the longest in the game. And the only way to do that is by having a brand. So having a brand is just having... A lot of people mix up the terms branded dropshipping and brand and whatsoever. So this is how I see it, right? So brand is selling a feeling to a customer, right? That is the top layer. The lower layer, that's then for the like internal businesses. That's for your logo, your registration for your brand name. Having your everything in place in terms of like your social medias, people that eventually do the influencing for your product and stuff. I would say that is what you actually call branding, or having a brand, right? And then also the bottom layer would then be having a product that you eventually brand, custom packaging, logo on it, and that type of stuff. So that's what I would then call branding. And dropshipping is also just a fulfillment method. A lot of people say I do dropshipping, but dropshipping is not a business, just a fulfillment method. So I hate it when people mix that up.
Running an e-commerce business means facing challenges like shipping delays, high cost of goods, and even payment processor holds. But what if you could simplify your logistics and increase your profit margins? That's where Commercive comes in, our sponsor today. Whether you dropship from China or you're using a USA 3PL, Commercive are confident that they can help you save on costs. With WhatsApp support and a straightforward, easy setup, Commercive ensures that your operations run smoothly. Having served over 3,000 e-commerce sellers, Commercive has gained a reputation for reliable fulfillment, serving the likes of Andrew Tate, who uses Commercive to fulfill his top G merch. Click the link in the video description or visit commercive.co to learn more and get your free quote today.
Branded dropshipping, you know, so dropshipping, you have a product, you have a manufacturer you have a website where the manufacturer, you don't buy any inventory. Eventually you have a website, you do the advertisement, and a sale comes in, and then you let the manufacturer source it to the customer.
Yeah.
That's dropshipping. If you're doing branded dropshipping, what people call now, you first have a manufacturer who makes the goods for you. So you produce the goods, you have a lead time, 10, 15, 30 days, depending on how complex your product is. Then you ship it to your fulfillment center in China, who does the shipping for you. So it's all just a fulfillment method, dropshipping
I'm glad
is.
you say that, because I say the exact same thing. All everyone is doing is e-commerce, which is selling products online.
100%.
How you get the goods to the customer, that is the fulfillment method, like what you said. So if you're doing dropshipping, that's just the fulfillment method. What we're actually doing is e-commerce. So I'm glad that you said that as well. But yeah, I think the way that you described building a brand is a very good way, and I would agree with that. I think it probably first starts by doing it in the reverse of what you said. First, you get the packaging, add your logo to it, start scaling it up. Then you build more brand awareness, UGC content creators, leveraging your social profiles and building a brand presence, and just creating what I say is becoming an authority within a niche. That's how I like to describe it, or that's how I would describe building a brand.
It's a good one, yeah.
Becoming a micro authority, and it's the same as building a personal brand or anything. We spoke about it earlier. You know why the podcast I speak about e-commerce, because that's my industry. So if I want to become an authority within that niche, or even a micro authority, then I should just double down within that niche. You know, and I think it's the same with building a brand or building presence anywhere. You need to pick your market, understand your ideal customer profile, understand their wants, needs, pains, and desires, and then appeal to that person, whether that be through your product, your USPs, the way you add the logo and the customizations on the packaging. What experience are you trying to create? And that sounds like exactly kind of what you did when you were building. Sorry, remind me the name of the area? Travix. Yeah. So what then happened? Because you brought that product to market. Was it similar to the Halloween mask? You invested in stock quantity and then you saw that upside quite quickly, or what did that look like?
Yeah, so when we were selling on Bowl.com first, so we bought the first product in like 2020 December, we eventually got kicked off the platform because we were using the keyword air wrap. in our title. So I think the first month after buying the products in bulk, we did 50K. The month after we did 79K, and then the month after we did 50K, and then we got kicked off from Bol.com. Because they have points on your account if you make mistakes. So let's just say that you're very slow to reply to customer service, or your delivery is super late, then eventually after a few times you get punished for it, right? So after that happened, we got kicked off, and we had a loan of like 20K euros, super small money, from a company that lended us money. And we were like, okay, shit, what do we have to do now? We have all this inventory left, and we have this loan, it needs to be paid back, but we don't have any account because your name also gets banned. So me and Remo eventually discussed like, hey, let's jump onto something that no one has something to say about us. And we saw Shopify they still have something to do about your store. If they want to terminate you, they can terminate you, but we saw that you're more free to do what you want to do on the platform. So we were like, you know what? We don't know anything about website. I tried creating a website for a brand I used to have, which was called Recurs. So for the massage gun, the massage pillows, but it didn't really take off. We created a website for Travix, and then we fully went into like CRO for the website in the beginning, when that's not what you'll just be focusing on. And also Remo started then focusing on advertisements. So Remo, my business partner, he takes care of the marketing side, I take care of the operations side. So one thing that we did leverage to get everything starting was influencer marketing. I think that's the first time I really saw power with influencer marketing. We had a content creator who eventually just put a video out on TikTok and got like 560K views. One day after, we got like 36K euros in revenue just off a free promotion video on TikTok. We don't use influencer marketing right now, but it does show the power of influencer marketing if you choose the right people. Because after that, we tried duplicating the process. We had like 100 influencers. Afterwards, all influencers just gave us like probably 1, 2, 3 sales. Yeah. But we had a lot of UGC content that we can use on our website, on ads, and that's what took us off when we started launching Facebook ads.
Yeah, I guess it's regardless of whether or not that initial video organically takes off, like you say, you still get the content that you can then leverage with paid ads, and that's the beauty of it. If you find an angle or an influencer that works really well, or resonates very well, I should say, with your customer profile, and it's generating sales, then you can obviously put an ad budget behind that and start scaling it up. So I 100%. Guess that's the important thing, is getting the content and testing. There was one other thing I was going to say, but it slipped my mind when we were talking about branding. Never mind. But so you got the content, you then launched everything on, that's what I was going to say, sorry. You mentioned about affiliate marketing. Now, do you feel as though the transition of TikTok Shop coming into the space has now accelerated that even more? Or do you think that's had any impact on how people are now leveraging affiliates?
I think that TikTok Shop is a great way of eventually getting affiliates. The pain point that we saw if TikTok Shop wasn't there back in the day was, if you have a lot of influencers that you do the outreach for, you have to do a lot of follow-ups as well. You would pay them beforehand or pay them like 50-50, and then afterwards they get the product, they don't launch anything afterwards. So you wasted actually product cost, shipping cost, and also if you paid them, you also lost money. So because some are lazy, they just want the free product and they think, okay, it doesn't matter, TikTok Shop, what I saw, we're not active on it, but what I did see what they did do very well is that they're like the middleman managing everything, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but so if a content creator, you can just literally see like what's their rate, what's their commission that they get. So all the rules are like set in stone, right? And then you can choose which affiliate you want, you send over the product, and then they launch it because they also have TikTok Shop looking if they're going to also like post the UGC. And then eventually TikTok Shop is super powerful, so then eventually it rips, right? So that's where all the new product rips are coming from. A lot of people go to TikTok Shop, rip top performing products, and then eventually launch it. So I think TikTok Shop did a very good job with that, because that was the issue we faced, right? We've sent so many products, paid for influencers, and we didn't get anything in return. So I think that's what TikTok Shop did very well.
And I guess that's where you have to be so careful doing things like this online,
is
you do end up putting a lot of trust into the people that you work with, and there's only you can't always go off recommendation. You know, a lot of the time you do your best to, or you ask those around you, but even still you have to create and form new relationships with new people. And just because someone had a good relationship with someone, it doesn't mean that that relationship's going to be the same with you. And the reason I bring that up is because I know you faced issues then with your supplier as well. So not only did it happen, you know, when you're building a brand, reaching out to influencers and people to market with on an affiliate basis, but also from product fulfillment with your supplier itself. Did you want to maybe just touch on that a little bit as well?
Yeah, so we lost our brand in 2025, January, which was Travix. So we lost that one. And the reason for that is because we had so many issues with the product, right? So many issues, a lot of defects, a lot of returns, customer unsatisfaction. And we did everything from our side to eventually uplift the brand, make tutorials for people to understand, post-purchase flow emails with a lot of instructions in the packaging itself. So we did everything what we could do from our side to make sure that it works. But yeah, you can do everything from your side, but if your supplier supplies a bad product, your customers are not going to be happy. So we did that for 2 years, and then we had a dispute with them because I looked at the balance sheet and then saw like, hey, we have a big hole in our P&L. And I found out that the problem was because of the disputes, the chargebacks, the returns, the marketing cost that then eventually vanishes once you get a return. That was all just gone to bits, right? So I spoke to my supplier about that, told them like, hey, we need a compensation for this because we had a payment plan with them. From halfway 2024, we would pay every month. They would ship the products, make the goods also, and then we would pay a month later for everything. So in December, I saw that and I eventually told them like, hey, we're not going to pay for this invoice, which was 317K USD. I told them like, hey, we're not going to pay this. You're going to first compensate us for the amount. I'll deduct it from the total amount that needs to be paid and we'll pay the remaining, no problem. We went back and forth. I'm going to be dropping a YouTube video tomorrow on it. Just that goes way more into detail, shows proof, receipts, everything. And yeah, we made the payment. They eventually scammed us. And that happens a lot in the ecom space. And we had to just close the doors down, you know. So January 2025 is when me and my business partner were in Cape Town. Everything was going well. We're doing our vacation and then everything gone just 1 second later, you know. So exit, we lost on the exit. We lost our brand also. So yeah, we were sitting there and we're like, okay, what are we going to do now? You know. And then February 2025 is when we started our own supplement brand, which is now doing $1 million a month.
Yeah.
So yeah, it went very quick and very quick.
Yeah, for sure. You know, there's one thing that I was just thinking when you were describing all of that, like with business, whether it be ecom or anything else, so many things need to be perfectly aligned for everything to just run smoothly.
100%.
To the point where it's never even really running smoothly. There's always something. And even when it gets to the point where it's running smoothly, you're almost like, this is nice, but now what do I do? And then something pops up. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's almost like unusual for it to be running smoothly. Obviously, I know it can be nice and you can get consistency, but you got to rely on so many different people. And I guess that's the importance of having a good, strong team around you.
Yeah.
And especially if you are forming relationships with suppliers in China or overseas, like it's another relationship that you've got to build on. And I think it just comes down to really being selective as much as possible with the people that you are working with. And when you start seeing them red flags, as difficult as it is at scale, start looking for alternative solutions
100%.
and backups, you know. And I guess you probably know that more than anyone with the experience that you went through as well.
100%. Yeah, to touch back on what you said about if things go well and something pops up, I always tell Raymo also as well, like, for example, we hit our first time 500K monthly recurring revenue with our new brand, right? We were in Dubai, we were at Atlantis Royale, and I remember telling him like, hey, you know, when I was still working a shitty 9-to-5 job, I used to go on booking.com and visualize me walking or even staying at Atlantis Royale, you know, and now we're here. And the next morning we wake up, we look at our dashboard and we see 500K MRR hit.
Yeah.
And I was like, we were like, for 5 seconds, we were like, let's go, bro, you know, handshake. And then 10 seconds later, I tell them like, bro, we need to be prepared. Something's about to happen. Because everything's just been going so smoothly for us now. We haven't had any bad encounters with this brand. But every time we hit like new milestones, also the first time we hit $1 million, I was like, bro, prepare, you know, something's about to happen. I don't know. Anything could happen, takedowns or supplier fucks us up again. And that is something that I'm so strict on. I have backups for all our products. for all our supply chain. If this supplier fucks up, we have a new one that's can jump in immediately. Because I'm not going to let this happen again, that we eventually end up with nothing, because the supplier had everything in their control. They had the whole supply chain in their control. So we were only taking care of marketing for the brand Travix, So have backups. I'll definitely recommend that. Yeah.
Two things I want to ask you. First, the backup thing. How do you build out that backup in a way that you can kind of rely on it? Like, how do you get it into a position where someone can step in immediately should anything go wrong? Is it done through an agent, or you actually go physically to China, or what does the process look like?
Yeah, so I would say what has helped me is Ecom communities. Yeah, and also I'm starting to see there's a little bit of a trend going on from Chinese agents starting to come onto Instagram, right? So you can easily see that. But I know a lot of people, there's like a top 5. If you were to speak to every Ecom guy, they would say, I'm using this supplier, right? So you can definitely go over those 5 suppliers. If you have your product quotes already from your supplier you're using or manufacturer, you can send over everything to them and say like, hey, how long will the lead time take if you guys do this supply chain? How much would the product cost? And you just get all that information. So you would then have 5 people, you go with 1, but you have your backups with the 4 already. You already know the payments that you're going to have to do if you were to change, the lead times, so you can prepare for that. If you lose your brand tomorrow and you did not have this backup set, you're now going to have to first do some discussions with them. Days are going to pass by, and it's all just wasted time. So you want to make sure that if you have everything stable, it also counts for teammates. If you have a team, if someone is super good with copywriting, at the same time, you can go on LinkedIn and find a new copywriter, talk with them, build a little bit of that relationship up. And if something happens to your one that you lose, that goes out tomorrow, phone them up and you say, hey, I have a job for you. And then they come in immediately, So that's how I would go over it. Just have backups and make sure that it's done now, not tomorrow, because anything can happen today.
Yeah, expect the unexpected, I think, or at least just have a plan B. In terms of like supply and the running of the business, even something as simple as a VA, if you've only got one and they disappear, what are you going to do for your customer support tomorrow? What are you going to stop what you're doing and jump in? Most unlikely not. The other question I wanted to ask you, when you were reflecting on being in the Atlantis in Dubai, having visualized these things on booking.com, what was more exciting or more fulfilling, the destination or the journey?
I would say it's a journey, 100%. Because eventually, when you hit the destination, you're only going to feel satisfied for probably like a few minutes. Yeah, that's what I've seen. I don't know I don't know if the word intent is the correct one, where that comes from, why it works like that. Because I would buy something that I would really want, and then after a few minutes or days, it would just be like, oh, okay, it's usual now, it's fine. I want the next thing. Yeah. And then to get to the next thing is a whole journey you have to go through. So I would say if you enjoy the journey, with ups and downs, you're eventually going to hit your destination, So that's what I would say, 100%. Yeah.
And do you enjoy the journey?
100%, yeah. I mean, every day when I wake up, I get straight to it, I always say attack the day. So there's 2 phrases I always use. So I use attack the day to get my day started, right? So if anything comes up onto me or whatsoever, it doesn't matter, boom, I'm going to attack it. Can be good, can be bad, but we're still here, And the second thing is part of the game. That's what I always use. So when I say part of the game is if something shitty happens, I don't know, supplier ghosts you, right? It's part of the game. I mean, there's nothing you can do. You cannot control people or even events. I also use Murphy's Law, but I like the phrase part of the game because I'm the one that made it up. But part of the game, if something happens, just accept it as it happened. Crying about it ain't going to do anything. Now just find your way to attack it and make sure that you come up with something new or find a solution for it. Yeah. So that's how I always go about things. And I think that mental frame has always pushed us forward, because coming back to when I lost my brand, everyone knew my Travix brand. Everyone, I posted it on Twitter, everyone saw it. So I lost something in front of my audience, which they knew which was doing very good. And most people, I guess, wouldn't rebound from that. A month later, we created a new brand doing $1 million a month right now. And I have the receipts to show for it, And I don't think there's anyone in the space that has done that. I mean, everyone has supply chain issues. Everyone has issues with whatsoever, customer service and so. But losing something, which everyone knows of, and then now you need to prove you're that guy, and then build something new, and then everyone sees the results again, I think that says enough.
It's just a test to see if you're really worth it. You
100%.
know? If you're really capable of taking it to the next level.
100%.
I think the best way of describing it is just like diamonds are made under pressure. You know, when you're
100%.
when you're put in that situation, normally the best things happen when your back is up against the wall. You know, when there's no other way out, there is no plan B. It's like, yeah, we can sit here and try and reflect on what we could have done differently, or we can just go ahead and start on the next thing and get building. You know, and I think I say this more often than not, but a lot of the people I speak to on podcasts, everyone's lost everything at least once.
100%.
You know, always. But what's important is not the problem or the issue you face. It's how you overcome it. It's how you react to that situation, and it's the comeback. You know.
Yeah.
Because everyone goes through challenges, albeit at different scale. You know, depending on where you're at on your journey, but. You know, I think that's all part of it. And like you said, you described it as a game, right? Like, you're just constantly leveling up. The problems you had 5 years ago are not the problems you have now. The problems you had you wouldn't even think of it as a problem.
It's
You
nothing.
go, no, it's just, you know, yeah, exactly. It's
And
nothing.
you would laugh about it. Be like, we used to stress about that, you know, because referring back to when we lost our Bold.com account, you know, me and Remo were on phone call that morning when we received the email, and we were like, fuck, what are we going to do now, you know? And then now when we talk about it, we laugh about it. Like, remember the time that you were almost crying on that call, you know, because you were like so stressed out. And now you just laugh about it. So also that's something you can also use for yourself. Like, later down the line, it's not going to matter what happens now.
Yeah.
You know, and I think if you move with that movement through life, I think you would get more things done. You would appreciate the challenges that get put on your path, and overcome them is then the most beautiful thing, right? And you also grow as a person like that.
Yeah, and I also say maybe that was the best thing that could have happened to you at that time. Then you discovered Shopify, and then you launched the...
Exactly.
I'm so sorry, bro, I keep forgetting the name of the brand.
Travix,
yeah. Then you launched Travix. So it's like maybe that thing that seemed like the biggest problem at that time was probably your opportunity to pivot into something even bigger. You know, so it all comes down to how you look at it. You know, or say a payment processor goes down, you have a backup, and it ends up you on board with them, and you're like, actually, this is even better than the one I was using before. So like, how you tackle that problem is, I think, so important, and that mindset that you have when the problem occurs. You know,
have you ever had that before?
What?
That if something happens, you'd be like, oh, and now you move to something new, and then you would be like, oh, this is actually better than before. I've actually only had that every single time.
Yeah, I think...
Actually, yeah.
I can't think of an exact example right now in the top of my head, but yeah, I think... I always say change is good. I think, right? Because you're stepping into a new environment or something different, and the game is always changing. What was perfect for you 6 months ago when you onboarded with something or when you made a decision may not be the best thing for you now 6 months later. You know, life changes very quick, not just in our own little bubble of what we're doing, but the actual world. You know, everything's moving very quickly. So the game's always changing. A perfect example would be AI. You know, so yeah, absolutely. There's probably things I'm doing in my business now that if I truly sat down and reflected on it, I'd be like, well, we probably shouldn't really still be doing this. We should find a different way to do this that's more effective. But sometimes you need a problem to put your back up against the wall to uncover the opportunity, you know, because then it lifts up on the priority list. Yeah. I think that's the thing. We often don't always focus on inefficiency at a lower level because everything seems to be running smoothly, but when you put a magnifying glass on it because there's a problem, you suddenly see all the inefficiencies and you're like, why were we even doing it like this to begin with? And you find a solution, you know? Yeah. So I think that's also the good thing about challenge or adversity is you always find a better way.
Yeah.
You know?
And how you can dive more deeper into that and also accelerate the growth is by having the right team, you know? Yeah. So if you want to claim then the word CEO, you shouldn't be doing your daily operations, you know? And because if you're so locked into doing that, I've always got the best ideas when I wasn't behind the desk. Yeah. Walking outside or in the sauna. I get my best ideas in the shower. Yeah, in the shower, I don't know, something happened, I'm thinking about it, I haven't solved it yet, and then boom, in the shower, I'm like, okay, we do that. Yeah. You know, so in order to do that, you're going to need to be exclude yourself from the operations, have the right team members that can eventually just carry on your daily operations, and then you can focus on the high leveraging tasks that drive revenue to your business.
Yeah, I had a guy on the podcast called Robert Miller, very, very smart guy. He used to be in Ecom and do a lot for like a lot of marketing for a lot of ecom businesses. And he said he ended up getting a coach at one point. I don't know exactly when it was, maybe a couple of years ago. And I can't remember exactly what the coach was for, just like day-to-day performance of his own life, just kind of optimizing the way he goes about his business and everything. And the first thing that the guy made him do was take Fridays off. He's like, I just want you to sit down on Friday. I don't want you to do any work. Just want you to reflect on business, highlight any problems, just write things down and just think. Like literally just think on a Friday. And he said that literally, as difficult as it was at first, changed his entire business and the way in which he operates. And for me, I guess being here in Bali has been a similar thing. I didn't come out here to work. Of course, I brought my laptop with me. I'm doing things, but I specifically decided Q2, I'm going to focus on building, my store, my mentorship program. Q3 or the start of Q3, when I'm in Bali, I'm just going to relax for a little bit, just enjoy it, take it all in, just train, eat well, spend time with my missus and just enjoy it. And obviously keep the businesses going, but not full on with growth. And what's interesting is, it makes you realise, actually, the thing I've built is actually pretty well sustained. But when you're in it every day, finding things to do, working on stuff, it feels like you constantly have to do things because you're just kind of keeping yourself busy. At least that's what it's like for me. But to step away, it's actually been like, oh, you know what, no, I built this thing. And coincidentally, this has been my best month to date in terms of revenue and profit across ecom and mentorship. So you see that all of that stuff that you built, the snowball's now been built and it's almost running without you because you're building everything up from the foundation and it continues to support the growth. Like, yeah, I'm still doing content and I'm doing podcasts because, that's right at the top of the funnel, but I'm getting a bit sidetracked now. But you understand what I'm saying? Like,
100%.
You realise when you step away, actually, all of this work I've done has been working towards something, but sometimes when you're caught up in the day-to-day, you just don't see everything,
And how's that been going for you then?
Stepping away?
Yeah, being here in Bali now.
Weird at first.
Weird,
because I've always just been... I used to describe myself as like a creature of habit. I like routine. I know what time I go to the gym. I know what time I do this. I do this in the morning, and I like having routine and structure. So to completely step out of that and be in Bali, training at a different gym, eating different foods, gone from taxis to scooters, different environment. It's all been very different, but it's been nice, and it's been almost like a personal journey for growth in a way. It's made me realize, okay, all that work you did work hard, and look what you've been able to build. Reflect on it, truly understand the next steps. And one thing that I really did whilst I was away, I wanted to be very mindful of anywhere that I was having to step back into the business. And I've been very vigorous of writing down tasks or anything that I've had to do anytime I open up my laptop while I'm away, to highlight any things that I'm a bottleneck on because I have to do it. And then whilst I'm away, I've been hiring people, outsourcing things, automating stuff. And better yet, I'm now come the end of the month, or nearing the end of the month, these past 3 weeks, a lot of those things I was doing, I'm not doing anymore. So it's actually even been beneficial for me in that sense. Had I been at my desk, maybe I wouldn't have had that mindset and I would have just kept doing the stuff. It's just 5 minutes, just 10 minutes. But because I'm away and it's a bit of an irritation, let me get my laptop down just for an hour. Now I'm like, okay, I'm getting someone else to do that. So, and you put a post on your story earlier today, I think, or yesterday.
It was yesterday. Also.
How are you going to call yourself a CEO if you're still doing this? Same thing for me. How can I say I'm managing these businesses well if I have to pull up my laptop for an hour and have to? That's not good management. That's me being too reliant on me doing stuff. So let me outsource that.
100%.
So
yeah, I have a very good friend. His name is Ru. I was with him and with our families. We were in Greece earlier this month, and I realized that when we were there, everyone was like, I get enjoyment from my people, like having fun based on like what I've provided to do that, to do so, So I saw everyone was having fun, but I was constantly pulling out my phone because I love chaos though. I really love chaos though. I don't know if it's too quiet, I don't like it or so. So I grab out my phone. Sometimes I check my email, but there's nothing. Okay, check WhatsApp. Also nothing. Okay. I open Shopify. Is Shopify going good? Is the revenue decrease? Who do I need to speak to? Who do I need to shout at? But everything isn't going so well. So I walk up to Ru, since he's a multimillionaire, and I asked him like, Ru, I never see you. It's been a few days in Greece. I never see you on your phone. Don't you got like work to do? And he asked me like, bro, for your business, what are you? I said CEO. And then he was like, okay, but are you busy day-to-day basis, checking out the operations, getting stuff done? I was like, yeah. And then he asked me like, I've seen that you're on your phone a lot. Are you like looking for stuff to do or whatsoever? I'm like, yeah. He said, bro, you're not CEO then. You're operational manager. You know, so in order for you to become a CEO, make sure that also in these times that you can enjoy your time with your family and stuff. Because that's the next question that you asked me, which was, why are you doing what you're doing? Who are you doing it for? You know, and it was such a deep conversation that I then eventually realized, like, okay, shit, let me get the right people to handle the operations. Obviously, there's still some time for work, but when it's vacation, you're with the family, on vacation with the family. I mean, if you get a phone call or something bad went wrong, okay, then you handle it, but don't go looking for chaos, you know? And that conversation did shift my mindset to eventually, like, okay, make sure that I have the right people in the business that take care of everything and the business is growing without me being there.
Yeah, it's a big transition because you go from, you know, so many years of being the person building, doing everything, understanding everything and how it all works, that you almost become so reliant on just doing stuff yourself. There's a good YouTube channel that I've been watching recently, and I don't often watch content anymore, but he seems quite a clued up guy. His channel is Scale with Ravi, and he helps coaches and consultants basically scale their info business and be able to operate it from their phone should they wish to do so, by outsourcing, automating, building team members and stuff like that. And I do think it is something that most business owners have to go through to get to the next level, but it's almost an uncomfortable thing, I feel like, because you've been so dependent on yourself for so many years. You then have to become dependent on other people to do what you want them to do.
And you view it also as your baby, right?
Yeah.
Your business, your baby. So people that come from outside do not understand the attachment you have as well with your business, you know?
But you have to do it, and I think it's something you've all got to go through. And you're right, you have to reflect on, you know, what do we all do this for? Because you said earlier that I think you said the word like provide, you know, and you feel happiest when all of those around you are fulfilled and enjoying things that you've been able to provide for. But a lot of the time they feel happiest when you're there and you're present.
Exactly.
You know, and I think this is something that a lot of people like me and like you, or just business owners in general, face, because we all do most of the things for the same reason, you know, to be able to look after those around us and to do the things that we want when we want and to just look after everyone and to make a good environment. But in chasing that, you often not forget, that's the wrong word, but sometimes you're so locked in at what you're doing and you're so dialed in and you spend a lot of time building your business that it pulls you away from the people that you care most about and the people that you say you're doing it for. You know, so it's a fine line, because balance is difficult at any time. But when you're young and we have all this energy and we want to build and we want to conquer the world, you know, you can't remember that actually we can do that, but you can still take a little bit of time off as well and build something that can kind of run without you. And this is what this holiday has been like for me. You know, I have to keep reminding myself, be present, just enjoy it. And I was like, you know what, this is good. I didn't do anything today. And I'm like, and yet, you know, I've got a few sales calls booked in for tomorrow. I've got this, I've got that. Shopify revenue looks good. Content's still going out. I'm like, this is great, you know?
Perfect.
But like when you're so caught up in your day-to-day, you just don't always realise. And even at the start of the holiday, you know, I'm looking at my phone, I'm in the gym, I'm trying to respond to messages, and I'm like, why am I doing this? You know?
But we're still looking for that fuck you money, though.
I
think I don't know what the amount is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the start of being calm in your own mind about it, I think should start now. And then it'll be more easier when you have that fuck you money, right? Yeah. But yeah, it's just the urge, the fire in us that you, like you said, you want to conquer the world, you want everything to go smooth, this and that, you know. So I 100% agree with what you said, 100%. Yeah.
I think as well we understand the importance of momentum. You know, like you just don't want to lose that momentum when everything's going good. You know that if you double down now and you keep doubling down, you know. But then again, it's like, where does it end? Yeah. But speaking of doubling down and scaling, you know, your your business at the moment, supplement store, doing really, really well. Like you said, 5 months old. You just showed me a screenshot. Last 30 days, €1 million. You know, so you spoke about bouncing back from adversity. You know, having issues with supply chain, lawsuits, and just issues with suppliers and whatnot, among other things. And yet you've then still been able to bounce back very quickly within the space of like 30 days, launch a new, entire new brand in a different industry, bring it to market. You know, so what's that been like for you? And I guess, you know, without going too far down a rabbit hole, how did you even do that, you know?
Yeah, so we first reflected on what went wrong with our previous brand, right? So, for example, we saw that our CPA was climbing every single year. So when we started off, we were selling like our product for like, I think €70. and the CPA was down like to 20 euros or so. But afterwards, a few months later, CPA became 35 euros. And eventually we were at like 80 euros that we needed to sell it. And eventually tried 90. So it got harder. And we reflected and we were like, bro, some days you would have like bad Facebook performance and you don't even have profit, you know? And we're like, shit, you know, we don't want this to happen again. And the fault from our side is that we were so doubled down on just one product. And that's not bad, because I think most stores have this one hero product. And then the other products bring like the upsell revenue, the cross-sell revenue and stuff. So, but we didn't have that in place. We only just had one product on our store. We had a 70 euro version that eventually became 80 euros. And then we had a 150 euros pro model. So those are the only two options we had. So we learned very quickly that your CPA goes up over time. You shouldn't be too reliant on Facebook. And yeah, in order for us to not have stress if the performance is bad this month, because also I think was beginning of this year, I think it was February, March, that Facebook had a whole month bad performance for everyone. They experienced a bug. Maybe it was even April. I said, we're not going to have that again. You know, so then we were like, let's find a product that can do monthly recurring revenue for us. And there's a lot of things you can do. I know, for example, people do fashion. They get like 60% returning customers, but they focus on emails, pumping out emails. And email marketing isn't cheap, you know. So we had found our supplement product. We saw it like in October 2024 when we were still having our brand Travix, because we were actually like also done with the whole supplier. We didn't want to continue with it. So we were like looking, but not like actively looking. So we saw this product doing super well in Australia. And we looked at each other and like, you know what, let's save this for later. You know, we tried launching a second store, but we did not have our operation so optimized that if we were to step out, it would still grow. So February came and then we were like, remember that product that we had? I think that's the perfect fit. You know, so then we whole process started over again. I was in Cape Town. I was calling manufacturers, getting price quotings, you know, understanding the product, doing market research for the product, understanding the avatar, why they want our product in specific. And we did the whole research in Cape Town. And then we launched our brand on 15th of February or 14th. I think it was 15th, was after Valentine's Day. And the first week we were unprofitable. So what made the very big change to us to eventually becoming profitable and eventually scaling to $1 million a month is making sure you have the right offer and also making sure that you have the right supplier. And when I say this is because suppliers can charge you a very high amount for X product, right? So if you don't do your research, eventually you're going to just be paying too much. So we had our supplier also from Travix that we asked like, hey, can you source this product? And they said, this is the quote. And we're like, okay, no problem, let's take it, you know, but without doing any research. But then we found another supplier who could do that for 50% off. And they were like, oh, okay, well, what's going on here? You know, we asked them, like, can you lower it? They said no. So then we had to make the switch. But then after that, so we eventually had like, what works very well for supplements is buy one, buy two, get one free, buy three, get two free. I don't understand how people do buy one, get one, and then sell it for $30. I don't trust that. But what worked for us was buy one, buy two, get one free, buy three, get two free. And if you want to go further, then you can also add for like free gifts, just little gifts that cost like $1 or so. And then boom, we started seeing like, yeah, revenue just coming in. We were profitable after that first week after making the tweaks. And yeah, since then we just scaled, you know, but like you said, supplements is a complete different space. It was also new for us. We were so in love with our bundle that we did not want to switch over to subscriptions. And that then it comes back to, okay, you shouldn't attach yourself too much and also not be scared of change. So we left it running for like another month, but in the back end we were like busy setting up the whole subscriptions, getting which platforms are best to use, how does it work and stuff. But it did not have to take a month, but we did, we just were comfortable, let's just say that. Also, I think it was mostly because of we lost the brand and we had no more money coming in. We did have cash flow built up, but then now we have something it's running again, you know, so we're super happy. And then once we switched over to subscriptions, bro, right now it's 700K plus monthly recurring revenue. And I was like, if we just did it a month earlier, just 1 month earlier, would have been on $1 million, you know? But it's fine. We're speeding up everything, making sure that we make up for the lost time. Yeah.
So when you came to switching to subscriptions, did you just flip the switch or did you split test it somehow, or what did you do?
We split tested first. So we did A/B testing. We used intelligence for that. When we did that, performance is obviously going to dip, because people now see that they're going to have to do a subscription, and people then eventually see that they're going to have to be dedicated to something like every 30 days, and they don't know your brand. So they get a little bit skeptical, is the word, right? Skeptic?
Yes.
Yeah, so they get a little bit skeptical about it, and then you're going to eventually not get that high conversion what you're used to. But if you want to compare it to having a high conversion rate and a higher AOV, based on then having subscriptions, that if your LTV is like 3, 4, 5, 6 months, you make way more money down the line, So you have to switch off that emotional switch actually to eventually just dive into something new, what in the long term is going to benefit your business, and also knowing like if we turn this on and next month we can expect 500K if Facebook does shit, no problem.
Is it possible to set up an initial bundle, but then for the subscription to start when people should basically end the bundle? Does that make sense? Like if it was a buy two get one free and it's 30 pieces per month, can you set it so people can do an initial bundle and then after 90 days the subscription starts? So you kind of get the best of both.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, so for example, you can use Kaching bundle, and if you use, for example, Loop, it's not a promotion by the way, if you use Loop, you can connect it with Kaching bundle, turn on subscriptions, and let's just say if they buy two get one free, you add then a column below like subscribe now and start receiving once your packs are finished. Cancel anytime, get free gifts down the road or whatsoever. And if they turn it on, then they subscribe. And then you can in the back end just make sure that if it's 3 packs that they get, so let's just say in your case it's 30 days, then after 90 days you can just put every 12 weeks they then get a new one, then for like 3 packs every 12 weeks. So that you can do.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I've never done subscriptions. I know it's very common in supplements, but it's just not something I've ever done, and I guess I don't know too much about it. So it's interesting to hear how you made that transition and were able to make it work as well. What would you say is like contributing to most of your sales? Before with the other brand, it was Travex, I remember it now. It was affiliate marketing initially and stuff like that. Are you still doing affiliate marketing? Are you focused mostly on paid ads? What does it kind of look like?
Yeah, so we focus mostly on paid ads right now. So we have Facebook and Google. We've tried Taboola, didn't really like make a big change. But that would be like, okay, we need to keep it. And it depends also on the product, right? So yeah, paid ads is mostly 85% is Meta, 15% is Google. And right now we're starting to build up a whole influencer chain, so we use Incense. You can just find creators on there, and then you just also go like a contract. So Incense is like, you can say then TikTok shop, but you don't get the sales through Incense, right? They just come in, make the contract, make sure that everything goes smooth, the transition happens well, and then done. So you don't have that headache of doing it yourself or having someone in your team reach out, and then you have to, content creator not delivering their product or even the content. So yeah, we're now focusing on that. So that was probably going to make a big change. We're mostly focused also on static ads. That works super well for us. So that is also a low barrier entry point for people. If UGC content works super well, storytelling and that type of stuff. But in order to begin, static ads you can just flip with Canva, which we did, and then just launched it, and then we can know, does this work, does this not work, which angle works the best, But it all comes down also to the research that you do on your market, but also on your avatar.
Yeah. Are you doing much with AI from the aspect of content creation, but also in general within your business?
For content creation, we are starting to utilize it. I'm not sure if it's very much performing well, so we still leverage more our static ads. But as for in our business, not yet. Not yet, to be honest. I've tried customer service AI with Travex, but it did not really work, And there's definitely things, if I were to just step back and be like, okay, what can we outsource? I know there's 2 guys killing it on Twitter right now with N8N agents, But yeah, what I've seen in the space is that AI comes in bubbles. Something new pops up, So ChatGPT, and then something else AI related comes up, and then it keeps on evolving because it's a very fast growing space. So there's definitely things you can do. I think you can use N8N agents to for your profit sheet, for example, fill that in. If they can extract information from few Excel sheets and then make your profit and loss sheet and stuff, I think you can do that. That's something that's possible. AI can do UGC creation. I think customer service you can now try again. Don't have too much good experience. I'll try that out in the future. And yeah, I think that's about it, you know. I think you can leverage AI, but you're still going to need someone to like see if everything's going well, you know. Maybe you can then break down your team from 4 people to 1 person if AI can tackle all the work that they're doing, and then just have to see if AI doing well, yes or no, and then have to jump in to fix anything if there's any issues.
Even if it's not AI doing the complete task, but at least making that team member more efficient in areas, you know what I mean? I think that's definitely a good way to do it, is just highlighting their responsibility in their tasks and then seeing, okay, are there any inefficiencies here or things that could otherwise be automated? But then automation is a beast in itself, because things can still go wrong. You need people on hand to fix them and this kind of stuff. So, you know, I think there's definitely a lot of opportunity there, and I think there's so much still that's been unexplored by people in many different industries. But like you say, the game's moving fast, so I guess it's just being aware of what's going on and trying to leverage it where you feel necessary.
Yeah, and like you said, for example, our creative strategist uses Claude and ChatGPT. We have like a database where we imported all our documents, market research documents about the market, Amazon reviews, Reddit reviews, YouTube reviews, what's our customer avatar, and you just import it into Claude or ChatGPT and build your database. Every time you have something new, upload a document into it so it understands the product more, and also your niche and that type of stuff, you know, which angles work very well. And what your creative strategist would normally do manual work for that, you know, if he uses Claude or ChatGPT or both, the work gets done faster. So what he would normally do like in 40 hours on his own without any help, he can now do 80 to 120 hours of work in 40 hours, all with the help of AI. So you definitely need to utilize that in terms of to also grow your brand and also like your team to be faster with doing things.
The actual research bit though, you can get an AN to do that, because that can crawl websites. I know someone who's doing it. Pull reviews, pull them into a document that is then ready for the content creator to then use in ChatGPT or Claude. Or you can automate it, get it to build the document, and then with automation with Make or something similar, feed that through OpenAI and tell it you need certain emails for your content or a breakdown or whatever you need. So you can get all of these platforms talking together to the point in which the strategist is just giving you the end result that's mostly been done with AI. You know?
That's sick. I'll look into that.
For sure, there's a lot you can do. I'm not even using NAN personally, but I know people that are, especially email marketing agencies, and like the whole ICP research is literally just that. Yeah. Just click a button.
Oh, that's crazy. Is Make good though?
Make is very... You
need mixed feelings though.
You need someone who knows how to use it. I find it really difficult. If you're ever just building odd little things yourself, like Zapier for me is just so much easier. I feel like the user interface is nicer and it's easier to do stuff. But if someone knows what they're up to and they can use Make, then yeah, the things you can do with it are quite powerful. I think most people just use it because it's cheaper than Zapier for the cost of the automations. I guess it depends what scale you're at. So I can't speak too much to the differences really.
Yeah, I'll forward it over to my team and see what we can get up and running. That's a good one. You know, I normally look at it. I know there's a lot of guys now pitching that also into the space and stuff, but they charge like hell a lot, you know, which also makes sense, you know, as just a business on its own. You know, then if I know like what I want, that's why I said if I were to sit down and just look at, okay, what can we automate, and just hire someone on Upwork, and then they can just build it for like the fraction of the price, you know. Yeah. But I'll have a look at that one. Yeah.
If anything, that's sometimes a better way to do it, because you understand all the steps that are required. If you know the content strategist, needs to go scrape reviews from here, pull it into here. This is the prompt you use in Claude. Then after that, you go to the ChatGPT for this, for that. If you know every step, that can be built in automation. Yeah. And if you understand the process, you can describe it exactly to someone in automations, because you can just say, look, this is exactly what I need it to do. Yeah. And you also know what output you want, so you know you can keep adjusting it. But yeah, people are charging a lot of money for this stuff. But like you said earlier with the dropshipping thing when you were selling the Halloween masks, it's also the newest big thing, isn't it? You see people now, I teach AI dropshipping. Yeah. Do you? Like,
bro, I'm not even going to get into that, bro. You know? Yeah, it's all just words, you know. Like I said, also about branded dropshipping, you know. Yeah. See a lot of people using that as a hype, but AI dropshipping also, I think those two are now the leading. Yeah. Bro, it's just fulfillment method, bro. Just e-commerce, just learn how to do that, know how to make sales, understand your customer, understand the marketing, and bro, then you just attach a product to it, because you're selling a feeling, you're selling a dream towards the customer, right, with your ads. And in exchange for that, they also get a product that also fulfills that dream of them, right? Yeah. So if it's a serum that makes you does anti-aging, for example, they want to become younger. That's the target. Your messaging should be that, become younger, look younger, feel like 30 again if they're 60 or so, but you have to make sure that your product works, because a lot of people that sell supplements or these type of serum stuff, mostly they don't work. And it's because they find a very good supplier, and when I say good, I mean cheap for them. And then they'd be like, okay, if I can buy this product for $1, which is supposed to make you anti-age with your face and stuff, and then eventually sells it for $40, okay, you make a lot of margin, but your product doesn't work. So you need to dive more deeper into that. That's also what I've learned about also visiting factories, making sure that there's only much that you can do from here, but you also have third-party inspection companies. Like, for example, in China, you have VTrust. They can go to the factory and see like how legit are they, how good are they? Is the factory old? Is it new? Do they have the newest technology or whatsoever? And then you can just compare 3 factories and also get like a sample run. With, like, for example, if you have a supplement that's like gummies, make sure that they have like active ingredients in them, so that you're not selling lollies to a customer. And a lot of people do that.
Really?
A lot of people do that, yeah.
Do they do it knowingly because it's cheap, do you think? Or are they just...
I would say that if you don't ask your supplier about it, they're not going to tell you, so that's definitely something that you have to look at, yeah. I mean, I can also refer to our situation that we also had to ask our supplier, like, hey, does this product really work? Consumable for customers. So does it really work? And they were like, yeah, it works. And if you just dive deeper into it or continue doing research, like what does it take in order to work? So how much of milligrams is needed in this product to make it really work? And then you find out, okay, you need 500 milligrams. You ask them, how many milligrams does it have? Yeah, 25. Okay, then it's a red flag, you know. And obviously, if you want to reach like a real working product, it's going to cost more. It's not going to cost $1.
Yeah.
You have to, for small products that you can just ship, you should aim for 5, depending on your bulk. If you do 100K units plus a month ordering, I think you can get it down, but you should range between $5 to $8. Then you know that you have a product working, and you can also let it get tested, in Europe or America.
I had a similar thing when I was sourcing products, a bit different because I'm doing higher ticket products and not supplements, but there may be a particular product that has a function and there's been tests involved that have been done by the suppliers, and I'll be provided a sheet which is stamped by them, these are the test results, everything. I'm like, okay, like what were the testing parameters, like when you were doing it, how close was the device when you were testing, A, B, C and D and this and that. Oh, I can't really confirm that, but this is the sheet. I'm like, okay, well, can we rerun the test and can you show me where, like, what device you're using, where you're holding it when you're running the test? No, sorry, we don't have access to those facilities, and we don't have an engineer on site. And I'm like, okay, so I'm just going to trust the bit of paper that you're telling me works, yeah?
And they can fake it.
Of course, that's what I mean. You know, it's all in Chinese, and they're like, yeah, you can translate. So I translate. It's like, it basically just says what the test results are. Yeah. It's like, come on, man.
I would recommend if you still need that for like your own products and stuff, use VTrust. Okay. Check that out. They just go to the factory. Like I said, they check if the factory meets expectation and also the requirements, like certificates and stuff. Is it real or not? And then if you have products, if you buy them in bulk, they're going to also double check your products if there's like any defects or whatsoever, or if you have ingredients or whatsoever, they take a sample of it, run it with their own lab test, and then eventually see like, okay, they did live up to the standards. Because I would recommend you make a supplier agreement, but also every time you make a purchasing agreement. So every time you place a new order, make sure that you have everything on paper. So your details, their details, what products you're ordering, how many units, what is the things they need to tackle from maybe last order. Maybe there's a new issue came up, so they need to tackle that with this order. Make sure that if you have ingredients, make sure that the ingredients are numbered out, that this has to be in them, You get that signed, they sign it, but you also make sure that you have the Chinese red stamp on it, super important. And then you can just deliver that to VTrust, and then they're going to go over everything. So you don't need to be going back and forth with them. They just know, okay, we should look at these things. And then if it's wrong, the supplier should fix them. Then they also get a few days to fix that. If they don't meet expectations, then you can decide what you do with that information.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I think that's really valuable. I've not heard of VTrust. So how does that work then? Do you pay them an upfront cost? Is it quotable? Or how does VTrust charge?
Yeah, so it's just through email. I think you also have a portal to log in onto their website. I think v-trust.com. I only use them through email because I learned this back in the day from bowl.com, you know. So I have them through email. Just message them like, hey, we have goods finished on X date at this factory. Can you please go check it out? Here's the purchase agreement. And then they would quote you, like, I think depending on how many products they test, you get a quote. So let's just say if you have 10,000 units, they would take out like 10%. You know, so that would be like 1,000 units they would take out, and double check that with 3-4 agents on the site. And yeah, you can decide if you want to test all of them, but you're going to pay a higher price. If you think that 10% is already enough, you can do that. 50% also fine, you get a quotation for that. And then you'll get a full report sent back, like of 30 pages or so. Make pictures of every angle. They make pictures of the factory. If there's any concerns, they would say, hey, please make sure to look at this and this. Discuss this with your agent. If they said something different to them, like for example, you were supposed to have 500 milligrams in your suite or whatsoever, and then eventually the factory goes to tell V-Trust like, hey, we eventually agreed 300 milligrams. That's also a red flag. On the paper it says 500. You know, if you would have had something changed, you would have told them. So those little things, and also make sure to rotate. Make sure that the same agent that went last time doesn't go again until like a month later, because otherwise they also become friends.
Yeah.
You know, Chinese people, what I love about them is that they're always in packs. They always love being together. You know, there's no lone wolf. They would rather have a small piece of the cake than the whole piece of the cake for themselves. So you got to be careful with that. So even you can find a V-Trust competitor or so and just circle through that, you know. I would recommend that.
Yeah, very valuable. Thank you for sharing. Do you think there's any benefit to going to China in person, or do you think it's overhyped and you don't really need to do it?
It's overhyped. I would say it's overhyped. If you have someone that can speak Chinese for you, that's not from their company, you can definitely get a lot done. I think just going to China for the experience is nice. Also for building relationship, you can also do that. And the reason why I react this way is because we also went to our traffic supplier, met up with them, laughed, eaten, drank together and stuff, you know. So building relationship wise, it depends who you're working with, you know. If they're legitimate people, can have a good benefit. They've seen you in real life. They can, if you ask them favors, they can do that. So yeah, doing it once, I would definitely recommend, not in the beginning, but if you have something running for some time, go there, check it out, see how everything goes, see if you can bring some ideas into improvement that's going to benefit you at the end. So optimizing systems, or maybe do this differently, and maybe you get some ideas when you go there. You know, maybe you see another product there because they have a lot of products there. You're like, how does this do? Okay, how can we implement that into this product, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, going there once is fine, but you don't need to go every single year and stuff. That's crap.
Yeah.
One of the biggest revenue shifts I had in e-commerce was when I realized that not everything needs to be constantly tested, tweaked, and optimized, although I know it's tempting. But some things like OmniSend email and SMS automation, you build once and they just keep converting in the background. And you only really need 3 automated flows to start seeing results: a welcome series, cart abandonment, and browse abandonment. That's it. You set them up once, personalize them to your customer, and they'll just keep converting visitors into sales. Even though automated emails make up just 2% of total email marketing sends, they actually drive 37% of total email revenue. And 1 in 3 people who click an automated email actually go on to buy. On average, OmniSend users see $68 back for every dollar spent. And when your back end is dialed in like that, your ads become way more profitable. It plugs straight into Shopify, takes minutes to set up, and comes complete with award-winning 24/7 customer support, as well as free migration for those that need it. Just hit the link in the video description and start turning your traffic into real profit with OmniSend. And if you're ready to get started, you can use discount code THEO30 to get 30% off for your first 3 months.
What's life like for you now? Because you mentioned back in 2019, 2020, you were watching the videos or dreaming of the island lifestyle, you know, sitting on the beach, sipping the cocktail, as was I. Coincidentally, I was actually watching Bali vlogs back in 2019, 2020, thinking, okay, so I need to save up this much money and it costs this much for rent, and can I do it and how can I figure it out? Took me 5 years, but I eventually, you know, got to see the place that I was dreaming about for so long. You also, do you say you live in a villa with a few other guys as
Here
well.
in Bali,
Ecom guys, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
One of which was on the podcast recently, Chester. So
Shout
shout
out
out to
Chester.
Chester. So yeah, like, you know, what's life like for you now? You're living the island lifestyle. You're living in an ecom villa. You're hustling. You're doing $1 million a month. You know, what's going on?
There's so much to say about this, you know. I think every time that I've thought about something, like for example, I want to travel the world and stuff. I've been to so many places the past 12 months. I've been traveling to, Greece, Spain, Turkey. I love Turkey. Dubai, Thailand, Bali, America also. You know, going to all these places and living the dream that, you know, you can book anything you want without having to look 2 times at the price, you know. And yeah, you're able to just fulfill yourself by doing that. Also, like reaping the rewards from all the labor that you have done. So right now, how things are going, I just recently moved out of the Netherlands, you know, so now live in Dubai. My rotation, I don't want people following me all over the place, but I want to be in Dubai, Bali, and Cape Town. I absolutely love Cape Town. The views there is just, it's not even to describe with words, you know. You should definitely check out Cape Town. So
Yeah.
I'm going to be rotating through there, through those 3 places. And then also, we'll grab getaways, you know, in between whenever we feel like doing it. But right now, I would say what has given me a lot of mental relief is that we have monthly recurring revenue. You know, that gives me relief for our business, but also for our own expenses. You know, so we can expect next month this is going to come in, and that grows every month, you know. I wouldn't say that every time it grows you have to go do something crazy, go buy a Bugatti right now or whatsoever, and doing $1 million MRR and eventually buying a Lambo. I mean, you can if that's what you want. But right now, Bali, what I really like also about the journey is having the right people around you know, and all of us are on the same mission. So we can also travel all together if we go to places, you know. I think this is what I respect people that do ecom alone, to be honest, because I have Raymo, for example, but if I were to be doing the same amount of work right now and doing the same amount of numbers alone, it would cost me so much more brain power, but also I would feel more lonely as well. Because when I also started off in 2020, I went into full personal development mode, right? So I skipped everyone that wasn't on the same mission as me. So they wanted to go partying all weekend and that type of stuff, you know. So I skipped all of those friends. I skipped going to parties. I skipped going to meetups, restaurants with people I used to care about, and also loved ones. I wouldn't give my time. You know, I was just so locked in is what people use now. Locked into what I was doing. And it brought me to where I am, but all of those people that I left behind are still at where they are now, right? But during this period, what is super important, I always tell people to do, be locked in on your business, but also eventually once you have that done, like the first year, then start going out, networking with other people, find other people that are on the same mission so that you don't feel alone. Because entrepreneurship in general, I think in the start off is so lonely for everyone, because now you need to learn something new. If you're not behind your laptop building something, then you're outside wasting time and that type of stuff. But right now I don't feel like that. Now I just have mental clarity and also relief. I'm happy where I am at now. I'm not satisfied. I'm happy, but I'm not satisfied. I always want to keep on building and stuff. And I'm happy to do that with the boys I'm with, you know. I wouldn't want anyone else in our place. I wouldn't want anyone else taking Raymo's place as my business partner, but also my very good friend. I would say that. Just travel the world, make fuck you money, and make sure that you're there for your family. And being able to do what you want to do whenever you want, I think that's the most important thing for also a man to be somewhat semi-satisfied, you know, because it's not going to be like, once I have this, I now just chill and sit back and relax and do nothing. I think that will then eventually lead you down to the round of, I don't know what the word is, but let's just say if you were to have nobody, you're going to now start ordering hookers and throwing money and bottles in the club and stuff. That's not going to give you fulfillment, bro.
Yeah.
It's not going to give you fulfillment.
Swap the hookers for hookers.
Yeah, exactly. The shisha boss. You need a shisha boss at home. Yeah. You smoke shisha?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Maybe
Every day or
a
not?
bit too much whilst I've been here.
Bro, Bali, bro, every day just 3-4 times on the shisha.
No way.
But then I'm talking about new bowls, so new coal, new bowls, 4 times
crazy.
a day. And that's only in Bali. You know, when I used to live in the Netherlands, I would go like once a week as a reward, you know. Work is done, gym has been hit, boxing has been hit. Then I would do that as a reward. In Dubai, yeah, I did not smoke a lot of shisha when I was there like 2 weeks ago. And here, bro, you just order a shisha boss and say, boss, bring the shisha. And he's like, okay, I'm coming, boss, I'm coming, boss. And then he comes and makes the shisha in your house and you have it there and you're working as well, you know. But yeah, you shouldn't be lacking on going to the gym. I don't know, do you do boxing?
I used to, but just like bodybuilding now. I don't even I say bodybuilding, you know.
I don't take steroids, do you?
No.
Okay.
I train in the gym. I wouldn't even say bodybuilding, just weightlifting, just for that feel good feeling, just to keep my head straight. I am intent on starting boxing again, but I go all in on too much stuff.
Yeah,
and boxing, I'm very it's very competitive, like hyper competitive. 100%. Truly, you're the only person to blame. So all of a sudden, your diet's clean, you're running, you're training, you're sparring, and it very quickly kind of takes over. Yeah. And I'm not saying you can't do both, because absolutely you can. But that was the reason I stopped when I was kind of in that growth phase of my business. And since then I've just been kind of hitting the gym and whatnot. But I would like to start boxing again. I've got my gloves and boots and everything with me in Dubai.
Nice.
But whether or not I will pick it up or when I will, I don't know for sure.
We'll go for boxing in Dubai.
Yeah, let's do it.
We'll do TK MMA or something.
Yeah, good. Definitely. Then we'll get shisha after.
Yeah.
Not before.
Hookah Buzz is a very good place. Do you have other recommendations?
Yeah. Hookah Buzz. Where else would I go? There are a few places I like. Even the beneath TK. Yeah. He owns the Charcoal Garden. Also
good shisha and food.
Yeah, very good. Where else in Dubai? To be honest, bro, you can walk into most places and get a pretty good shisha.
That's what I like about Dubai, though. Yeah. But I would rather have that than like here in Bali, everything is literally done for you, right?
Yeah.
So you can just call up Shisha Boss comes, you know. Yeah. Also, when I was in Dubai a few weeks ago, a friend told me like, hey, let's smoke shisha, and I was like, okay, cool. Which restaurant we going to? He said, which restaurant we're going to? No, I'm going to order a shisha guy.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, don't tell me this, bro, because I don't want to be ordering shisha in my apartment in Dubai, you know.
You can, yeah.
So I saw that, but yeah, I'm not going to be doing that because here it just goes out of hand, and I don't want to be doing that in Dubai, as I'll be spending most time there, you know.
Yeah. So have you sorted an apartment yet? Or
yeah. Apartment, everything's literally set.
Nice.
Left the Netherlands now, so it was just the right move, right time to do that, you know.
Yeah. When are you going to be spending time in Dubai?
So as I'll be traveling through these 3 places or even extra places, I'll be mostly Dubai from like September till December, go out then January, and then be back from February till May. Because I think June gets hot, right?
Yeah,
and then from June just go do EU somewhere, go somewhere else, you know.
Yeah.
And then come back in September again. End of September though, because I saw beginning of September is also hot.
Yeah, I mean, May through to September is like hottest. Well, it's hot. May through to September is hot. June to August is hottest. You know. So
I was there, and after a few days, I got used to the heat though. But I think it does get hotter in August or September, because the first time I ever went to Dubai, I was still working a 9 to 5 as a driver. You know. So I was delivering food to people's places. I saw that the tickets were super cheap to Dubai, and I think August, otherwise beginning of September, and I was like, okay, shit, let's go, you know. So I told my friend, I rang him up, he's like, okay, let's go. And we went there, and it was nighttime, so it was still a little bit hot, but I was like, okay. But then the next morning, when we wanted to go to Dubai Mall, I opened the door of the hotel, and the heat or humidity that hit me afterwards, I was like, what the hell? Yeah. And it was a ghost town. There was literally no one. Restaurants were closed and stuff. And then I quickly understood, like, that's why it's cheap. Because everyone goes away in the summer, you know?
Yeah.
But I couldn't complain about July now, since I experienced it myself. After a few days, you get used to it.
The way I describe what you said is when you open the oven and you get the wall of heat.
Exactly.
And you go, It's like, that's what it's like, bro. You step outside. I will walk outside at 6 a.m. in the morning, and obviously sun comes up early there, but I'll be outside at 6 a.m. If you walk for a few minutes, your t-shirt is stuck to you.
Yeah,
like,
true.
You're humid, you're sweating. So like it is intense, but it's not constant. The humidity level changes. True. As long as you don't mind the heat and the sun, it's okay. But even then, most people I know that live in Dubai, we're all working all day. You know, in the evening, maybe we get some food, some shisha. You're going to get in the cab anyway, or get in your car, or go to the restaurant, you walk in, it's air conditioned. So, like, obviously, if you want to be spending a lot of time outside, you're probably going to struggle. But if you don't, it's almost like in the UK or in the Netherlands in winter, you kind of just stay indoors for a few months.
100%.
Summer's like that in Dubai,
Yeah.
you know, but you
Yeah.
can still get everything done that you want to do.
Yeah.
Most people choose to go enjoy Europe because they can.
Yeah.
You know, I think what's quite popular is Dubai and Marbella, or Dubai and Bali.
Yeah, true.
I guess many of these places attract similar types of people.
100%.
So yeah, I guess that's why people like it. And again, just ease, convenience. In some ways, I feel like Dubai has some similarities with Bali, like the convenience and how everything's only 10 minutes away, the speed of things. Obviously some differences as well, but I can see how people would like both places. Good gyms, decent people, you know.
Yeah.
So it's
The only thing about Dubai is that going to the gym, you're always going to need to take a cab, though. Unless you have in your apartment a gym in it, but it's not going to have all the facilities or amenities that you need. So that's the only thing I did not like about Dubai. That now I experience, like I have to grab the cab everywhere I go, you know. But I mean, part of the game as well, you know. So that's the lifestyle you want, and yeah, you have to just get used to it.
as opposed to walking, or
It depends where you want to go to the gym. So, for example, if I'm staying in downtown, but I need to go to TK MMA, that's like 20 minutes with the cab.
yeah, can be, yeah.
Yeah, so 20 minutes you go, 20 minutes you're back. You do a 1.5 hour training. Yeah, so it's 2 hours, 10 minutes or so that's gone.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
only thing I don't like about it. But yeah, everything else I do like about Dubai.
Yeah.
When did you move from you
UK.
grew up in UK?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, to Dubai. When did you
Yeah.
make the move?
Does December 23.
23. Yeah.
Goes
so,
quick, bro.
So how did that go for you?
Yeah, good. I mean, to
Did
be
you
honest,
hate the UK? What's the backstory on it? Why did you choose Dubai of all places?
I wouldn't say hate. I wouldn't say I hate the UK because it did a lot of things for me and turned me into the person that I am. But the next logical step for growth was Dubai. Like for me, I'm not someone that's massively travelled. I grew up in the UK, very close to Europe, Netherlands, you know. So for me, holidays when I was growing up or early teenage years, late teenage years, Spain, Amsterdam, you know, the surrounding European countries. But I'd never really been anywhere else outside of that. You know, the furthest I'd been was like Portugal or something. So when COVID came and lockdown, a lot of like entrepreneurial people in the space that I looked up to at the time that were from the UK, Tam Khan, he owns TKMMA, Iman Gaji, other entrepreneurs as well, Mike Thurston, they all left and went to Dubai. And they all spoke about the weather, it being tax-free, crypto-friendly, all things that I also appreciated as well. So to see people that you look up to all speaking highly and going to this place, I thought, okay, there's something here, you know. And from a couple of years, maybe from like 2022 to 2020, from like 2022, I was like, okay, I want to visit this place, I want to go there, I want to live there. At the time, I was growing the agency, and then ended up getting with my missus. We're now engaged and everything, which happened on this trip. But we went to Dubai in September of 2023, and as soon as I landed, genuinely, I was like, this feels like home. I've never felt like that anywhere else. Like I literally, we turned up, we couldn't yet check into the Airbnb because it was still early. Put our suitcases next door, and I was like, oh, we got some time to kill. I think I saw a shisha lounge next door. My missus like, all right, come on then. Like, so I sat in there. I've ordered a mint tea. I've got a shisha. I've got a meze. It's like 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm just like, she looked at me. She was like, you love this, don't you? I was like, yeah. I was like, this is.
You went through your missus, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'm just a simple man. I was like, I'm happy, you know, and everything else is good as well. So we were there for like 10 days. And then while we were out there, she was visiting a nursery. She works in a preschool. So I was like, while we're here, let's just check some out. Let's go and see some and see if you could get a job here and see what it would look like. So we went into one. She sat down with the manager or whatever you'd say. They got chatting and then ended up offering her a job there and then to start in January. So we were just like, okay, let's do it. So January we moved over there. We'd already talked, like we'd had conversations about like, would you ever live there and that kind of stuff. And it just kind of happened. And then we never really looked back. So
how does it go about vacation days for your missus? Because I'm now at the same situation where I'm making the move and I'm also bringing my girl with me. So she's right now like looking for like a remote job or whatsoever. And one thing that came into discussion and also why a remote job is because we want to be traveling throughout the year as well. So spend like 6-7 months in Dubai throughout the year and then 5 months somewhere else. And her initial idea was first getting a job there. So how does it go with like the vacation days and stuff? Is it the same like UK? You only get like 30 days or 28 days or so?
I think
per year?
In that sense it's similar, but it also depends on the job. So with her job specifically, because it's in school, she gets July and August off if she wants. So she can do a 10-month contract. We also get maybe 3 weeks off at Christmas and maybe a week or two in March or April. So yes, in that sense, we are a little bit limited in when we can travel, but we also make it work. Like I said to you earlier, I'm kind of like, I like my routine, and so I don't mind too much, but there's definitely times where I would probably travel, maybe just to go home to see family if I miss them or whatever, which you cannot do because we're limited by that.
True.
But the upside outweighs the living in the UK.
Yeah.
So I would pick that any day.
100%.
And of course, I want her to be happy and fulfilled in what she's doing as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think things will change over the next couple of years when we plan to have children and stuff like this. You know, I'm 30 next year, so I feel that now is a good time, and just based on where I'm at in business and in life. But that will obviously open the doors to more travel, I think, and more flexibility. I don't expect that she will go back to work after that. I just want her to look after the children and be at home. So, yeah, I think from that point, you know, things will change, and depending on where you're at in your relationship, you know, maybe it will be similar for you. But there are many jobs you can get there, working locally, or, you know, depending on her skill set and what she wants to do, she can get remote work as well. So you're going to figure it out.
Yeah, that's beautiful, bro. I'll definitely look into that.
Yeah.
So I do think that first year probably remote would be good. Because maybe after a year of all this traveling, because this is just an initial idea, maybe we get tired of it and be like, okay, we want to settle and stuff. How many years you've been in Dubai?
Well, September will be 2 years.
2 years, yeah. So I think like in the second year we then get like a villa or something, you know, build that and then just chill, you know.
That's the plan. Yeah. That's the plan. Well, I think we're closing up for time shortly. That's been an hour and a half.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
But maybe we could finish on, you know, for someone that's achieved what you have done, and like you said, happy but never satisfied. So maybe are there any things that you're working on at the moment, things that you're working towards, goals? You said, you know, boxing and stuff like that. It doesn't have to be business, but have you got any goals at the moment that you're working towards that make you feel fulfilled and satisfied?
Yeah, so a little bit of backstory. In 2008, my mom, my brother and I moved to the Netherlands, right? So one thing that's actually at the top priority of my list is sending my mom back home, you know, and making sure that she's retired, chilling over there, you know. So that is literally like my number one goal that I'm working towards. So I think it is already possible, I would say. But next year with 2026 and with all the goals, personal goals, but also business goals we have going on, definitely will be able to make it real next year. And I think once I have that all set, then I wouldn't see anything else that could like where I can work towards to, if it's not like materialistic, like getting a new house, or I think maybe the next goal will be children. 25 now, but I think maybe when I'm 28 or so, I'll start definitely with the children and stuff, and then a whole new ambition and goal opens up, you know, because I think Elon Musk and also Jeff Bezos were super young when they had children, right?
I'm not sure.
They were super young, between 20 and 23, and then they got like already 1 or 2 children. And from what I've seen is that if you get a child, it's what you would do now and take like a year to get done would be done like way faster. You know, but you can also reverse engineer that and say like, you know what, if this is going to take me a year, how can I make sure that this gets done in 6 months, and then plan it out, done. But you just want to do things faster, because now you're not only providing for your woman, but you're also providing for your kids. You're a man now, you're taking care of your family, right? And in my case, I will be taking care of my family, taking care of my mom, making sure that my brother is good. And if everyone's satisfied, then I'll be satisfied. Because who said this? I think it was Andrew Tate who said this, that the father gets gets socks for Christmas as a gift, while he provides all the gifts for all the family, all nice things, and then he's just satisfied with that. I see that I have that feeling as well, you know. I have that feeling for, if I see that all my family, all my people are good, I'm able to provide for them, then I'm fulfilled as well, you know. Yeah,
you said it earlier, that's what brings you the sense of fulfillment, and that's why, I mean, I'm the same. You probably get told the same thing, you're so difficult to buy gifts for. Yeah, because I don't want anything. I have everything that I want. I'm a simple man. Give me a shisha and a good meze and some coffee. You're not going to hear from
good meze, that was good. Yeah.
So, you know, it's that's what it comes down to, I think. It's just, and I think I see commonalities between a lot of the people that I speak to on this podcast, because businessmen, entrepreneurs, however you want to describe yourself, you said it earlier, the reason we do this, is one, for ourselves to feel fulfilled, but also to be able to provide for those around us. And I think the goals that I worked towards personally changed as I developed as a person. At first, it was like, oh, I want to move to Bali. I want to do these things. I want to be able to do what I want. I want to have the ability to live remote. Then you get a partner or a missus, you know, and then it's like, okay, now it's about us. You know, now I want to be able to provide you with everything and the family that we're going to build. Then you get to the place and you've got your missus and you're planning on having children, but you're like, what about all my family?
Yeah.
They're still back home. Oh, okay, I need to make sure they're okay, you know. So
100%.
now it's not about me or just about us, it's about everyone, and then that's when it becomes the community. But I think that comes with growth as well. As you grow to that next level, you put that hat on to take on more responsibility, and for sure that's what it's all about, you know. Give me the socks and the pants at Christmas, I don't mind, just give me some good
and
food
a shisha though.
yeah and I'm good. But yeah, I mean, maybe that's a nice note to end on. And
last thing what I'll add to that is that I think that the next fulfillment step for myself personally is also growing with like my personal brand. And when I say personal brand is I want to showcase to people like that it doesn't matter where you come from, you can make it if you put in the work, right? Nothing is given, everything is earned.
Yeah.
So my journey and also my messaging down the line, I will be posting more videos on YouTube, on Instagram. You know, follow me at Mr. Brand Owner on YouTube and also on Twitter and Instagram. But I want to be able to give people hope. And I think that will be the next step in my journey, that I become that beacon of hope. Doesn't matter what your background is, you can make it out. Just focus, put in the work, make sure to have the right people on your side, and you're good. Yeah. You know, in Dubai they say khalas, then finish, right? So yeah, that's my messaging, bro. That's the last thing what I want to end it on.
No, thank you for sharing that. I think it's a great message, and you're right. You know, it's just about showing people what can be done, because I know it's easy for people to look at me, at you, at anyone else, and think, oh, they never had to go through what I went through, or they never got out of this situation. But actually, most of the people I speak to, like yourself, came from way worse than what other people
100%.
do. I think most people don't realise how privileged they are just to be born in the West, to be born in Europe or the UK or even the US, you know, or any English-speaking country. To be born there, you have an advantage from the get-go from so many other parts of the world. We're actually saying that, you know, the East now with the Saudi and Dubai, probably great places to be born as well. But I just mean, categorically, you know, being born in the West, you are somewhat privileged in that sense. We all come from different wealth backgrounds, lower class, middle class, upper class, whatever it may be. But like, more often than not, most of the people I speak to, we all came from either lower or middle class. You know, we didn't have everything given to us, but that's why we work so hard to earn it.
100%.
Anyone that was given everything, they're probably never going to achieve the things that me and you achieved, because they never had to go get it. You know, from a young age, we had to work, get told to save up your money, to
100%.
do this chore to earn your money. You know, and that's why we learn early that we don't want to trade our time no more. Like, give me something else, you know?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I'm looking forward to that if we do next year in a podcast again and see like how we've both grown personal-wise, but also business-wise. And then we can see how the chat goes down, you know?
100%, brother. I look forward to it.
Thank you very much, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you.